Hi, if you're watching this, it means you supported me on my way to the DR trip, and I'd just like to take a moment to say thank you for all your support. This trip has been an amazing experience for me. I learned a lot about myself and about God, and the experiences that I got to go on serving in villages, just really getting closer to God through worship, songs, service. Really everything in between. With not just the people in the villages, but also my class as well, my teachers, the people I'm being like taught at school by. I got closer to everybody, and I just like to take a second to say thank you and share some of the experiences that I had on the trip. So some things that some fun little memories I had. It was on the first day we did a VBS kind of day, Vacation Bible School. We were just walking around in this one village, and we heard there was a school that was in session, and we went over. I think it was like probably 7th grade and below. The grading scale is a little bit different there, but I remember I was walking over, and I was thinking, man, I was a little nervous. I was thinking, I'm gonna really have to force something to happen here. It's gonna be a little difficult to try and make an interaction happen. And I remember that was completely diminished when we started walking up to it. It was a gated little school, and we walked up, and there was a kid that just ran up to the fence, started crawling it, shaking it, saying "Americanos." And so that very same kid, when we started walking in, he saw me and sprinted up to me and jumped on my leg. And just like, I was walking around with the kid on my leg, and then his friend came over, he jumped on my other leg. So I was walking around with 2 kids on my legs for a solid 5 minutes. That entire time they'd be asking you, caballo, caballo, which is like horseback, and I probably gave out like 50 horseback rides that day. Keep in mind, like 95-degree weather, like dummy humidity. It was awesome though, being able to just kind of give those kids like joy, seeing their faces light up. It was hard to spread necessarily the gospel, especially to a bunch of kindergartners, and when there's a language barrier. But just to be able to bring joy to others who unfortunately are less privileged. I was walking around in these villages, man, like. They're not necessarily like mud huts, but they're tin sheds. Like that's like what they got down there. If you're lucky, you'll catch a couple concrete houses. Most of them are just like they're made right, and then they take out a loan to make it, and then they run out of money, so they just stop building it. And the concrete houses are just kind of left how they are, and so they finish it with some tin. Sometimes you catch some people just using wood if they can. But it was a very humbling experience too, to be able to walk through. That wasn't my only village day, but it was very humbling to be able to walk through a village like that and just see what everyday life is for these people. That was a great time with the kids. And then we went on a prayer walk in my group, and we just basically, again, like walked around the village. Anybody that would allow us to speak to them, we spoke to. We spoke to this one woman who, we walked into her house, and we were just kind of prayer walks, preaching the gospel a little bit, and it was such a hard thing to accept. This is what every single Dominican said. I guess it's a very cultural thing to kind of say down there. We would ask her questions like, do you love Jesus? Yes. Do you want to follow Jesus? Do you want to be a part of his kingdom? They all would say yes. But then you'd ask the question, do you want to be a Christian? And they would just say no. And it was kind of like a hard thing. You're like kind of trying to connect the dots. Like, well, this means you want to be a Christian, but you're saying you don't want to be. And I think one thing that I learned while down there serving is that it's a cultural thing that they think they have to earn the title of a Christian, which obviously we know that we can never earn that. And I got to evangelize to these 2 gentlemen. I forget their names. They were very unique names, but they were just posted up at this little public, like communal little area. And the reason why I brought up the lady earlier too was because one of the guys that I was like talking to, I guess, was her boyfriend, but he's married to someone else. So it was just kind of like oh wow, like to see the way like the dots kind of connected there. But I mean, I was able to talk to him about like, how their big thing was like they feel that they were too far away from God, and I thought it was so cool because I got to tell them like, hey, no matter how far you walk, Christ is there with you. There's no amount of steps that you can take away from Him that will take His love away from you and His faithfulness and His grace. And I mean, I don't. They didn't accept Christ that day, but I believe I planted a seed that was very good, very beneficial. Let's see what else here. I have it all written down. Concrete. I worked concrete. I laid concrete twice on the 7-day trip. It's no joke. Hand making concrete. They don't have any machines up there or anything like that. It's all just, you get sand, you get your concrete mix, and then you get some gravel, and you're out there for 7 hours a day, dumping water, mixing it. Like, I mean, it was definitely a tiring experience, but it was awesome to just see the way we were helping this guy out, lay the footers of his house. And it was really cool to just see how our work would progress. It was hard work, but it was fun. And then, oh yeah, shoot, sorry. A really cool thing that happened where God moved in all of that. It was the second day, and we were finishing up, and we were like a tenth of the way from being complete. Excuse me. And I remember it was so hot out that day that all of our concrete dried up and we didn't have any water left because the family that was letting us use water, their hose was dripping like molasses. It was just not giving us anything. So we were just getting ready to pack up and leave. And literally 5 minutes after we said we started to call it, it started raining like crazy, like thunderstorms, everything. Like we started getting hit with rain. And that perfectly mixed the concrete back up. And God really just sent like a little help out and kind of just reset the concrete. We got to finish it out and we made it out of there in like 20 minutes after that. It was just so fast. It was really cool to see us band together and God kind of help us out there, especially with, because we were working with other Dominicans as well. It was really cool. And then one major thing I learned, the big thing that I took away from the whole trip, I went into the trip thinking, and my understanding was the only way to get closer to God, to please Him, to kind of just be more like Him, was to read and to pray. That's it. I never really considered worship an actual legitimate way of honoring God or like growing closer to Him. I always considered it a way that people would just get goosebumps, really. That's kind of it. But I learned after like a 2-hour worship session with just my class, the power of worship. I used to be the kind of guy that, you'd see at church and I'd be like a stone face kind of, I'd be singing, but I would not show any emotion. I would just be kind of just trying to get through it almost. And that night, I mean, my hands were in the air, eyes closed, singing at the top of my lungs, man. I learned the power of worship and the way God moves over a group of people that speak truth over each other. That's also another thing I learned, that worship isn't just, praising God, but it's also just speaking truth over others and the power that actually has. I felt so moved by the Holy Spirit during worship, and I'll never look at worship the way I did before again. I mean, it is a beautiful thing, and I think it is a gift that we can honor a God like Him through worship and song. So, I mean, that was just a little tidbit. If I get the chance to see you in person, feel free to ask any more questions. But I would just like to say once more, thank you so much for your support. It meant so much to me, and I really can't thank all of you guys enough for this experience. Thank you.